Well, hello, we've got a race today from Taumaranui to Auckland. It's our GPS race 3, raced on the 18th of May, and it's over 177 kilometres. Good conditions across the North Island today, except for the very far north there, just a little bit of rain mass going through. Generally it's a west to northwest flow, and at the release point itself we had a very light northwesterly breeze flowing. With clear skies, which you'll see shortly. The solar radiation forecast, the most important line there, is down towards the bottom. No significant transient or recurrent solar wind features are forecast. So these are the conditions that we had. Looking across the Taumaranui sports field there, just panning around. A little bit of fair weather cumulus, but it's fairly widespread, no more than 1/8 cover. And just a glimpse there of the red and green boxes of the hens and cocks just ready to be released. So looking up towards the north and clear skies in that direction, just a little bit of Alto Cirrus there, and just looking over towards the east, a little bit more cloud cover, maybe 2/8 worth of cloud, and then coming back to look over the sports field. So the races today, we have the Bear, trained by Richard Couchman, and he's flying for Don Campbell today. Inday, trained by Jerald Avendano, and Red Rose, unfortunately, has been a technical scratching. We can't get a proper data stream from Red Rose, unfortunately. We also have Bong Marcos, trained by Louie Morales. Paddy, trained by myself, Carl Coker. Carpe Diem, trained by Kevin Malone, who you remember from the previous race. So here we are looking south, just about to release the birds. As I say, we had a very light northwesterly wind blowing just prior to the release, but no more than a couple of knots. So the birds are off, have cleared well, and just avoiding the goalposts there as they make their way off towards the east and making the turn up towards their racing track. So here's the course they're flying today. So this is the North Island of New Zealand for those who are viewing from overseas. Lake Taupo's in the centre of the island there. Mount Taranaki Egmont is off to the west, and over to the east there is Gisborne. Just got the birds just in their basket there at the moment, just prior to the release itself. Now we've got a little bit of a race within a race here at the moment. We've got the official race is ending at the red line, and there's been a request from some of the clubs north of the Harbour Bridge that we have a secondary finishing line. So we've got an unofficial Whitford finish there, represented in blue. So here we are, we're looking off towards the south east at the moment. The birds are just moving in the basket just prior to their release. Looking across the beautiful south Waikato town there of Taumaranui. A series of towns built up around the main rail line between Auckland and Wellington in New Zealand. So Inday is represented in green, Bong Marcos is in orange, and the Bear is that mustardy coloured dot, and it looks like the birds are just underway at the moment. So as we saw, they all headed off pretty much together as a group, and initially turned off to the east. So we're heading north at the moment, and they've all departed reasonably cleanly together. Inday's taken the more westerly track, but as a group they're making their way up towards Auckland as we view them now. So just looking towards the southeast at present. bit of a look around. So looking up towards the north there, you see the finishing lines off into the distance. So the birds are generally following the main road into Taumaranui. Diem's there in green, Bong Bong Marcos in orange. The easiest one to see at the moment. So just taking a little bit of a look around the country as the birds make their way north, staying together as a pack as they are, and looking down the North Taranaki Bight there, looking over towards Mount Taranaki Egmont and the New Plymouth area there, and looking up towards the Carpe harbour. Still very much sticking together as a group at the moment. You can just see Lake Taupo there off into the distance. All flying a fairly true track as they make their way north. Just coming up past Tīmapara at the moment, that's running a beam Mangakino, which is where our next race will be from on the 9th of June, weather permitting, past the Pupuaria golf course there. And just coming up past Tikawiti, which was where our race 2 was from. So we're getting fairly close to Waitomo Caves area. As they make their way north, you can see one of the glowworm and cave tour car park just becoming visible there to the north of the birds at the moment as they make their way up the country. So heading up into the Pirongia Forest Park, this is some of the rougher terrain the birds have to cross on their way north. Just a little bit of a data stream issue there with Carpe Diem. As they get into the rougher country, sometimes the reception from the GPS satellites gets a little bit on the poor side. So just looking over towards Carpe Harbour. And Taharoa Iron Sands over that way. And looking over to the east. Looking into the South Waikato there, and of course Pirongia will be coming up very soon. Pirongia being our race 1 release point, so we're slowly ticking off the release points as we journey north. All the birds staying together very tightly as they make their way up country. Our next release is going to be a single release. Well, we say single release, it's going to be a single racer being released, and then there'll be a buddy bird. So it'll be actually 2 birds being released, so there'll be the race bird and the buddy bird, then 10-minute breaks between each subsequent bird. So that's going to be very much reliant on the navigational skill of each of the birds as they journey up country. Just looking towards the top of the screen there, you can start to see Raglan Harbour just hoving into view. Just clearing some of the high country there around Pirongia. So looking off to the east there, we'll get a glimpse of Hamilton, and looking over towards Tauranga area. So the five birds, Inday, Carpe, Diem, Bong, Marcos, the bear and Paddy, all sticking together as they make their way across Raglan Harbour. The muscle groups for the pigeons are split up into two types. You either have fast twitch muscles or slow twitch muscles, or commonly called type 1 or type 2 muscles. The muscle groupings will determine what the bird is actually using them for, whether it's an explosive type movement, which they'll be using the fast twitch muscle fibres for, and the slow twitch one for endurance. Much better at economical burning of fuel in the muscles. Starting to get a little bit of a split there. Paddy's moving more off to the west, and looks like Paddy's slowing a little bit. The others there, Bong, Marcos, Carpe, Diem, the bear and Inday, still staying very much together as a group. Paddy's got a little bit of track to make off to the east to get to his home loft. Carpe Diem is moving off to the east as well, although Paddy, having said that, is now shifted off to the west. So just finding his way. Possibly starting to fatigue a bit is Paddy, but the others are still very much staying together as a group. So Paddy's just drifting off to the west there at the moment. And it looks like our group of 5 has become a group of 4. So still sticking very tightly as a group there. Bong, Marcos, Inday, Carpe, Diem and the bear. The terrain's much more even in this part of the country. Still sticking on a very close line to a straight one up to their home lofts there. Just looking ahead, you can see the two finish lines we're using today. The official red one there is just visible, and in the distance is the blue one there, the unofficial Whitford finish for the Western Union and North Harbour birds. So our front marker today is Carpe Diem. the finish line falls half a kilometre short of the front marker's loft. So at that half a kilometre short position we see the red line, and the ones, or the birds north of the bridge, is Inday, Bong Bong Marcos and the bear. Just taking a look down the west coast there, back down towards Carpe Harbour and Mount Taranaki. See the track the birds are flowing. Paddy's now well behind the main group. Starting to see a little bit of a split in the group there. Just coming back together. Just starting to see the finish line coming up at the top of screen. Yeah, Carpe Diem is moving off to the east, and we've got a group of 3 there sticking together. Inday, Bong Bong Marcos and the bear. Inday starting to get a little bit of making a bit of ground on the group. Carpe Diem is moving very much on a direct track through to his home loft. So we've got a bit of a break there. We've got Bong Bong Marcos and the bear more to the west of the group. Inday's taken the lead and Carpe Diem off to the east more. So they're forming a little bit of a group of 2, and then Bong Bong Marcos and the bear off to the west. A little bit of higher country off to the west there for those 2 birds. Inday and Carpe Diem going to have a little bit of an easier time of it as far as the wind flow at the moment, away from some of the turbulence that they're going to get around the hills there for Bong Bong Marcos and the bear. Just taking a look back down the track there, and the ground that they've made just passing Hamilton. So we have Inday and Carpe Diem. They are well ahead now. Inday's making very good ground, and then up in the hills there we've got the bear and Bong Bong Marcos. So at the moment it's running with Inday first, Carpe Diem second, and the bear and Bong Bong Marcos pretty much neck and neck at the moment. So coming up towards the finish line we've got these 2, Inday and Carpe Diem, making the most of it, and it looks like Inday's going to take it. So just coming up to the finish line now, Inday crosses first, Carpe Diem very close behind. And then just out on the left of screen we've got the bear and Bong Bong Marcos coming up to the finish line now. It's very, very tight between those 2. It looks like Bong Bong Marcos has just got it ahead of the bear. Very, very little in it. So Carpe Diem's just pulling off to the east there as he goes towards his home loft. Just crossing the Waikato River, we've got Inday is crossing now, and the bear and Bong Bong Marcos still holding very, very tight together as a group. And Paddy is there, still yet to cross clearly struggling. So Pukekohe's just passing Inday on the right there. You see the southern edge of the Manukau Harbour. Inday is really just steaming ahead here, and the other two, Bong Marcos, is just slightly ahead of the bear, but both are going very, very well, but they're not going to catch Inday. So the race within a race, we've got the Whitford finish coming up as a blue line very soon, and you can just start to see Manukau on the top right of screen, and just down on the left there, looking up towards Clark's Beach area, and that's King's Seat there, just centre right at the top of screen. So the bear and Bong Marcos are flying as buddies at the moment. Taiki River just coming up, and you can just see Auckland Airport, Auckland International Airport there, top of screen at the moment. Hopefully air traffic control is going to clear a path as the birds come through. So just coming across the Clark's Beach area there, we've got the bear and Bong Marcos sticking together. So coming up beside King's Seat there is Inday, very much ahead of the group at the moment. So Inday's got a bit of water to cover there. Just taking a little bit of a look around and see where these other two are. So the bear and Bong Marcos are much more towards the west of the screen. Clark's Beach there on the left. Inday's taken a little bit of a turn off to the right. And coming up towards Whitford finish there, you can see the blue line crossing the industrial area there just north of the airport. So Inday's doing incredibly well, and Bong Marcos and the bear just crossing over some of the water there of the Manukau Harbour, heading up towards Cornwallis. Looks like Inday's going to cross right over the airport the way he's going. Inday's just crossing over the main runway there at Auckland International, and we've got Bong Marcos and the bear just coming up on a whitu, and Inday has got this one in the bag by the looks of things. The other two are well behind. So Inday's making his way up towards the North Shore, his home loft. Still got a little bit of ground to cover there. And Inday is crossing the line well ahead, very good fly. And we have the other two there just coming up on Cornwallis and about to cross as well. got the water to cover, and across Cornwallis there for a finish at the Whitford finish line. Still nothing in it, still keeping very much together, but if anything it looks like Bong Marcos might be first there to that unofficial finish at Whitford. Just taking another look here at Inday. Heading up towards central Auckland Harbour. Yes, and yeah, we've had Bong Marcos looks like has crossed over first, followed by the Bear as they make their way up past the Waitakere Ranges. And Inday is now coming up on the central city there, central business district of Auckland, Waitemata Harbour. A little bit of a dog leg around there. So Inday's basically crossed over at Devonport, the naval base there, heading up towards Lake Papuki and North Shore Hospital, and looking off to the west, and the Waitakere Ranges there. We can see that Bong Marcos is heading off towards his home loft at Kelston, and further north there you've got the Bear heading home. So there we have it. First across the official finish was Inday, followed by Carpe Diem. Bong Marcos was third, the Bear fourth, and Paddy coming in a very distant fifth position. So there's the placings. First with 10 aggregate points we've got Jerald Avendano, and second Carpe Diem, trained by Kevin Malone. Both of those birds having a very good fly. Bong Marcos comes in third with 8 aggregate points. The Bear is fourth, and Paddy is a distant fifth. Hope you've enjoyed the racing today, and as I say, the next race we have is on the 9th of June.